This is a little video to introduce you to the differences between sterling silver and silver plate. Now, this topic is very deep, so I will probably make a series of different videos with a lot of different examples to try to get you some experience with what you might be finding that's plate and what you might be finding that's silver. On this mat, currently, there is one piece of sterling silver and 3 pieces of plate. All of the plate is quite different, however. If you want to pause for a moment, maybe take a guess as to which piece it is that is sterling, you might have fun with that. I will continue, however, and I'll talk about what these pieces are and the quick way to identify what is sterling. And the quickest way to identify is just to flip a piece over. So let's take this big fork. This looks pretty dang good. Maybe you thought this was sterling. And we'll flip it over and we'll see if there's the mark. Hey, wait a minute. I don't see any markings there. What on earth is going on there? How about we just set that one down like the French do, face down. We'll leave it for a second. We'll take this one up and look at it. Now, if we flip this over, we might have been forgiven initially to think that it is sterling because we have a monogram there. Somebody spent the time to monogram this piece. We'll look at it and we'll see. What do we got for writing? We have, if I zoom in here, you can see William Rogers and Son, AA. Now, if you've been doing this for a bit, you'll see AA and go, whoop, that is plate. And the AA denotes how thick the plate is. And that was just a marking that Rogers and Son used. A1, AA, these are all plate markings that you'll get with experience. If you don't happen to have a phone that can zoom in like this on you, or a magnifying glass, however, you might make a mistake and think, is that saying sterling? Because sometimes it'll be very small. But if you were to not have your glasses, not have a magnifying glass, not have a way of zooming in, you could still see that this particular piece is plate. And as I show you here, do you see how we have one color here and then the color changes? You can see all the high edges. That's the nickel silver, I believe, which is underneath. And nickel silver isn't real silver, we just call it that. It's a mixture of nickel and other materials to make it look like silver, is coming through the plate. So we have plate on top, but then you can see the base metal that's underneath very clearly. So this is a very good example of why old plate is so easy to identify, because you can look at that and go, oh, the plate is worn through. Now, the next piece of plate is this one. And remember when I said, let's flip that over and place it like the French do? When you're, at least used to be, if you're a fancy person in France and you're setting your places, you don't actually set it face up, you set it face down. And when you set it face down, it would be not as nice to see markings on the back here. So the way the French do it is that they actually put the markings here and here. Now this piece is where silver plate markings can get pretty crazy. You see that cute little turtle right there in the DU? That indicates the maker of this. And if you look it up, you'll see that the maker of this made silver plate. The marking on the right, which says 100, is an indicator of the thickness of the silver plate. And French hallmarks look really good. They look like they could be solid silver. And I'll be honest, when I find it, most of the time I'm looking at it going, is this silver? Is this plate? It's hard to tell. It's very thick plate for plate. Now, I should note when I say thick plate, I mean for plate. All silver plate is really thin, to the point where there is not enough silver in this, even if it's a thickly plated piece, to really be worth salvaging. It is not something you would want to keep in a stack or keep in a situation where you don't have a whole lot of room. No plate is. But it is useful to know that this is a place to look for markings. Sometimes you'll find sterling pieces or pieces that don't Maybe they aren't quite sterling, maybe they're not 925, but they'll be marked there instead of on the back. Now if we go to the third fork, you might be going, how is that the sterling fork? This looks like crap. I mean, look at this. Look at this discoloration right there. Doesn't that look like... maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't look like that. But you know what? What we can do with this, we can flip it over. And let's have us a look-see. What does this say? There we are. Sterling. Right there. Oh, look at that. This one is scrap. But sterling, right then and there. And if you look close, it is sterling. And I never cleaned this one up. And I wanted to use it for this example just to show you how bad sterling can actually look. And how relatively bad, because obviously this piece is beat to snot. But it could fool you when you're looking through a bin. So you always want to have your magnifying glass with you, and you always want to look close at things. Now, you might be wondering why I have this thing here. And this is something that took me a little bit of time to determine, but this is also silver plate. But if you look at the bottom here, what you see that it says hotel plate. And sometimes these will say silver soldered, which I believe this does, if you could figure that out. And these are much thicker plate, and they're usually made out of something that even when the plate wears off, it still kind of looks like silver. So these are a harder thing to actually determine when you first start out. Is that just like a really beat up piece of sterling? But there's a couple tells whenever you pick something up. One of the first ones is, this thing's heavy. Like, heavy. And if you're making something out of solid silver, generally speaking, you're not going to make it heavy. And if you do make it heavy, you're going to mark it as sterling or have some other mark that makes it clear that I made this heavy object out of solid silver. So if you pick up something and it's heavy and you look and it doesn't have a clear marking somewhere that says this is solid silver, this is sterling, this is 925, this is something, you're pretty much assured at that point that it is not, in fact, solid silver, especially if it has other markings like this one, which is hotel plate. This piece was actually a hotel creamer. The reason they call this hotel plate was that they use this on railroads and on hotels, and it was made to be durable silver plate. So extra effort was put into it, but in reality, there is no real value. They say silver soldered to indicate like where it was, where the pieces were soldered together, and they used silver solder, so there's a little silver in there, but not really all that much. The only people that I've talked to who have a real use for this is that it actually can be melted down and added into lead for bullets. It's about the only thing that I've really seen people use it for. But I hope this is valuable information for you. I'll try to do a series of different sterling compared to plate and what plate markings you might come across and how to identify them, videos if people are interested. Make sure, if you did like this, that you like and subscribe. Tell your friends about this. And if you get some sterling when you're out and about, let me know. I would love to know what you're finding out in other parts of the country and maybe in the world. Hope you're having a great day.